It is 10:20. Oh, by the way, in case you were wondering, the left still hates talk radio intensely in Wisconsin. I don't know if Colin mentioned this yesterday. This is not going away, despite the role that some talk show hosts played in the last week. Okay, you know what? I don't know how people are going to come down on all of this. All right? Speaking, I was going to do something else, but let's do this in relationship to the I am offended issue, because this one is a little bit more interesting. This is a story, and I know that Jeff Wagner talked about this yesterday. This was a story that was on Channel 12 about racial taunts at a soccer match that have created a certain amount of controversy. Now, I'm going to play this. This is the headline on the story, is racial taunts at soccer match. The question that I'm going to ask is, number one, were these taunts racial taunts? Were they offensive taunts? Should the adults have shut it down? And you can react to it any other way that you like. Again, our number 799-1620. I know that Jeff talked about it, but I'm interested to know what my audience thinks about this. This is, again, from Channel 12 News.
They came off the field and weren't able to finish the game because they were just too upset and distraught about what was happening to them.
Beloit Memorial High School girls soccer coach Brian Deneau says some of his team's black and Latina players were run off the field last Thursday by racial taunts in Elkhorn.
One of the girls, was kind of cradled in the arms of one of our assistant coaches for, a good 15, 20 minutes.
The coach says the chants were things like "Trump, build that wall." The Elkhorn School District confirmed their investigation found that 3 elementary-age students who were sitting near Beloit fans said "Trump, build a wall." And later in the game, 2 high school students stated back and forth "Trump" 4 to 5 times.
Whether they thought about the ramifications or what was said or the intent, it was clear that the interpretation was hurtful, and the students from Beloit were offended, and understandably so. It's not behavior that we condone or that we accept from any of our students. So it's something that we take very seriously and want to make sure that we have it addressed right away.
The superintendent said the students involved in the incident would face some discipline, but declined to say what that might be.
So this is it. 3 elementary school students apparently chanted, "Trump, build that wall." 2 high school students apparently just chanted the name Trump. 799-1620 throughout the Midwest, 1-800-877-1620 on the AccuNet Mortgage toll-free talk line. 414-799-1620. Your reaction to this is a story. It's done straight. It is just reported straight that these high school students who apparently, and I'll play this again because I want to make sure that I get this right, they were just chanting "Trump, Trump, Trump." They will face discipline. Now, as you think this through, try to imagine how they would react if you had high school students who were chanting "Obama, Obama, Obama, Obama." Would there be this story? Would there be discipline? Imagine some high school students chanting "Sanders, Sanders, Sanders, Sanders." Would there be the same reaction? Okay. How about you have a game going on. Students start chanting "Clinton, Clinton, Clinton, Clinton." Would there be this story? Would there be this reaction? Would the superintendent be talking about the discipline? Now, you all know where I stand on Donald Trump. I think I have made that very, very clear. But this is not the first time where just his name is being considered a microaggression or a macroaggression. We've had the stories about, the people, remember the story out of Emory where somebody actually wrote Trump 2016 on chalk on the sidewalk, and, people needed safe spaces. They needed to, hold hands and needed, talked about their pain. As opposed to, getting out a sponge, taking it off, or even better, how about writing Sanders 2016 or writing Clinton 2016? But again, this story, I just kind of want to get your sense of whether or not this was, because this is reported straight up as racial slurs requiring some sort of discipline. Now, again, is it possible that there was something else said? Yes, but that is not included in the evidence, and nobody suggests that anything other than "Trump, build that wall" or "Trump, Trump, Trump" was said at this particular game. 799-1620. It is 10:27. Our number is 414-799-1620. Now, I may take two different approaches to the callers. I may play devil's advocate with you on both sides, or I may not comment at all, just move on. But I want to play the story again just to make sure that I have not missed anything, because this is the way I heard it. That what you had were 3 elementary school kids who were chanting "Trump build that wall," and 2 high school students who were apparently just saying Trump's name. That's what I heard in the first report. Let's play it again. This was reported by Channel 12, straight up as racial taunts. Racial taunts. They do not report the use of any other racial term other than Donald Trump's name.
They came off the field and weren't able to finish the game because they were just too upset and distraught about what was happening to them.
Beloit Memorial High School girls soccer coach Brian Deneau says some of his team's black and Latina players were run off the field last Thursday by racial taunts in Elkhorn.
One of the girls, was kind of cradled in the arms of one of our assistant coaches for, a good 15, 20 minutes.
The coach says the chants were things like "Trump build that wall." The Elkhorn School District confirmed their investigation found that 3 elementary-age students who were sitting near Beloit fans said "Trump build a wall." And later in the game, 2 high school students stated back and forth "Trump" 4 to 5 times.
Whether they thought about the ramifications or what was said or the intent, it was clear that the interpretation was hurtful, and the students from Beloit were offended, and understandably so. It's not behavior that we condone or that we accept from any of our students. So it's something that we take very seriously and want to make sure that we have it addressed right away.
The superintendent said the students involved in the incident would face some discipline, but declined to say what that might be.
This is going to be an interesting case, because I would love to hear the lawyers for the district explain why saying the name of a presidential candidate, unadorned by any other comment, would be subject to discipline. And I say this as somebody who, as you know, is not a fan of this particular candidate. 799-1620 throughout the Midwest, 1-800-877-1620 on the AccuNet Mortgage toll-free talk. And I think this is going to be an interesting conversation. What did Jeff's listeners say? Well, maybe my audience will have a somewhat different reaction. It is 10:35. The Brewers look to bounce back against the Cardinals as their series continues tomorrow in St. Louis. What is it with St. Louis? What is it with the Cardinals and the Brewers? They just seem to be locked on. I mean, whether the Brewers are good, whether they're lousy, it's like kryptonite. Bob Euchre and Jeff Levering will have our game day coverage beginning at 6:40 tomorrow night. This is such a strange story. When I first heard the story, when you first saw the headline, racial taunts at the soccer match, what did you think they might be yelling? The things that might run through your mind, you can think of the racial taunts. Obviously, unacceptable. There's no way anyone's going to justify something like that at a youth soccer match. And of course, we also know that the WIAA has gone, shall we say, way out of its way to ban words like sieve and airball and anything else that might conceivably be hurtful. So the question was, what could they possibly be chanting? And according to this report, 3 elementary school kids said "Trump build that wall," and 2 high school students chanted back and forth Trump's name, just that, Trump, and they did it 4 to 5 times. And that resulted apparently in, did they not finish the game? Is that what happened? Did the whole game, or at least some of the players just could not handle that, and they did not finish the soccer match? 799-1620 throughout the Midwest, 1-800-877-1620. Edwin from downtown, you're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning, Charlie.
Good morning.
First, I want to say that I'm a never Trump guy. I don't like the guy. But as far as what these kids were saying, they were echoing Trump's belief and Trump's view of Mexicans. I think it was completely inappropriate, and these kids, they were completely out of line. Now, it'll be the same thing if you go to a soccer match and you had some Jewish kids playing soccer, and then you have the crowd chanting Hitler, Hitler, Hitler. It'll be the same thing, and I think it was completely offensive.
So you think that saying Trump, Trump, Trump
Yes.
is indistinguishable from saying Hitler, Hitler, Hitler?
Yes.
Really? And that's the way a public school should treat a candidate for president.
Well,
see, here's the problem. The public school,
not a candidate, this candidate.
Right. Okay. So, if they were to chant, say, Clinton, 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 should they be disciplined?
What does Clinton believe in? What does Clinton
I'm asking you, Edwin.
Now, if Hillary
you are the superintendent. You obviously have certain rules and regulations.
Yes.
You would discipline, maybe suspend or whatever, a student who says Trump, Trump, Trump. What do you do with the student who yells Hillary, Hillary, Hillary?
But the thing is, what does Hillary believe in? If Hillary came out and said, I dislike all Mexicans, we should build a wall, we should kick all Mexicans out. And
okay, I'm not sure that Trump has said that, by the way. And by the way, do not put me in the position of defending him, but I don't think he's actually said that.
But I'm just saying, if Hillary had stated her position in that fashion, and then the kids were chanting Hillary, 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 yes, it'd be just as offensive as...
But you understand where you're going here, Edwin, that then as the superintendent, you have to make value judgments about which candidate for president is acceptable and which candidates are not acceptable.
No, it's not about the candidate. It is about what the candidate stands for. It is their position on
are you seriously arguing that it should be a rule on a public campus that you could say, write the name Hillary or Sanders, but not the name Trump because you have made the value judgment that Trump is just too offensive and that Hillary and Sanders are completely okay? Can you actually imagine a public university articulating that standard?
Okay, now if you're supporting Trump based on his politics, fine. If you're chanting Trump because Mexicans are within the vicinity, then you're not supporting Trump, but you're echoing Trump's policy against those individuals.
So in other words, they were using his name as a racial slur.
Correct.
Do you understand, though, the slippery slope we're on here?
Yes, I understand the slippery slope. But these kids are echoing what their parents...
All right, I just wanted to get your reaction. Edwin, thanks for the call. Appreciate it very much. 799-1620 throughout the Midwest, 1-800-877-1620 in the Accunet Mortgage toll-free talk line. Denise from Pewaukee, you're on the air. Good morning.
Charlie, your last caller cracks me up. That's ridiculous.
Well, wait before you laugh at it. When that apparently is going to be that's what they're doing at the school district. They are going to discipline the kids for saying the name, just the name.
Right, and what I'm looking at is a couple key things popped out when you replayed the story. Number one, it's elementary children. So how do they even know the stance of a political candidate? And number two, the coach held one of the children for 15 minutes while they were sobbing, which, still leads to the fact that adults are actually almost tutoring the kids on how to react. And the reaction
does seem a little bit much, but let's go back to your point. Are you saying, why do you think those elementary school students were chanting that?
Well, I'm sure that from their parents. I mean, they wouldn't know that would be a racial slur or something.
Why were they chanting it at this particular game? I mean, I don't chant, Ted Cruz, flat tax, Paul Ryan, regulatory reform. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, well,
Hillary Clinton, what difference does it make? What,
How about just not being always so politically correct and just getting some thick skin?
Okay, well, I'm in favor of